So it's really no surprise. It's no surprise whatsoever that on the official forums for an MMO, that some posters are going to be posting criticizing the game and complaining about the game. This has been tradition in MMO history since the beginning of MMO time. And so normally, I wouldn't pay attention to a post like this. However, this particular post did catch my attention, and the reason why that is because it has a ton of views, a lot of replies, and a lot of people are agreeing with this original poster. And so this post was written by someone who seems disappointed with Endwalker. And they start off by saying, I started to zone out once we started playing dress up with the bunnies when the world was supposed to be ending. Okay, pause. And so this person is obviously talking about the Loperettes over on the moon. And this is a sentence that I am not surprised to be reading. And the reason why that is because when I myself was going through the MSQ, I started noticing this pattern with the way that the MSQ was written, starting around Stormblood. And what I noticed was happening was that the writers of the Final Fantasy XIV MSQ kind of go through these ebbs and flows where they start off with some world building, setting the stage, setting the scene, getting you invested into the fantasy of the game, which then culminates into a crescendo, which is a major plot point. And once you've gone through that major plot point, they spend some more time kind of setting the stage again for the next major plot point and setting you up to receive that next major plot point. And it's these ebbs and flows. And being on the moon with the Loperettes is one of the ebbs. It's one of those stages in the game and in the MSQ where world building is being done. And this is not usually how people consume media these days. The what I just described, the world building followed by a crescendo plot point followed by more world building, is something that you will see done in actual literature, in books, right? This is not something that is a 90-minute feature length film. This is not a 6-second short on TikTok. This is full-fledged literature in game mode. It takes 40 to 50 hours to go through Endwalker on average, not two. So what you get when you have a situation where you spend so much more time setting the stage and setting up the world and being immersed in the world building is that those major plot points have much larger payoffs. They end up having more significance, they end up having more meaning, and they end up having a bigger emotional payout. And so you need to have these world building parts of the story in order for the main plot points to be as high of a high as they are. That's kind of how it goes. And if everything was plot point, plot point, plot point, plot point, it would end up feeling a lot more shallow. However, as time has gone on, more and more people are becoming averse to reading literature, averse to reading books. Even movies are not as popular as they used to be because we're so used to, just seeing a story from beginning to end done in 5 seconds, and then we forget about it within 2 minutes. So, anyway, this poster then goes on to say that I was fully clocked out during Ultima Thule segments with the fake sense of loss. Okay. So this person is obviously talking about when you get to Ultima Thule with the Scions, and one by one, the Scions have their ether dissipate. And the way that it appeared to me that Square Enix wanted to convey this part of the MSQ was not in a way that has you mourning the loss of the Scions. This was not another Archifont 2.0 moment, you know. Uh, and I didn't get that sense that Square Enix are trying to set it up like that. It's kind of obvious that we're going to, see the Scions again because just a little bit before then, when Hydaelyn gave us the power to materialize Aether, they're setting us up to think, okay, these Scions are going to come back. And there was no, real the music and the responses of the characters kind of implied that okay, these sounds are going to come back, but that wasn't the point of Ultima Thule. The point of Ultima Thule was to really engage with the themes of hope, despair, and nihilism, because each of the scions, right before they dissipated, of course, interacted with a people from a different star, you know, and kind of got to see how these people or these peoples kind of gave into despair. And the science said, but we must have hope. Essentially, they dissipate. Next set of people, we fell into despair, but there must be hope. Next set of people, right? And that's the theme. The theme isn't, oh no, the scions are gone. No, no, that was not the way, that was not the point of Ultima Thule. It was not about a fake sense of loss, you know? It was about despair, nihilism, and hope. So this person then goes on to say that I stayed subbed just for the lottery release back in 6.1 in hopes of getting a house. You guys know how that went. The no winner bug didn't get repaired for a month. In a game you have to sub for. Now plots have 150 plus competitors. I unsubscribed back then for almost 2 months and came back for 6.2 island content. I think many people were hoping islands would be more than just retainer dispatch. Even though Yoshi said not to hope for much, I'd rather them just not have done it, question mark. So I think the way that Yoshi P went about actually introducing Island Sanctuary was the best possible way he could have done it. This was a radically new feature for Final Fantasy XIV. And there is no data to demonstrate whether or not this is going to be something that people are going to like in the long run, or at all, even. And so Yoshi P, when presented the option to go ahead and throw in a lot of resources, to throw in a lot of time, energy, and money into making Island Sanctuary, decided instead to run a little pilot test and minimize the amount of resources he's spending on making this content just to see if people would even like it to begin with. Because he has his finger on the pulse of his audience. He has his finger on the pulse of the players and what they want. And this is just something that's new. And so he needed to see, is this something that people are going to like? He goes in, he tries it, he sees how people like it, and if they like it, he'll go ahead and he'll make more. This was exactly the way he should have gone about it. This is, you know. And so then the poster then continues on their post by saying that Yoshi P and Square Enix should allocate these resources into making actual instanced housing. Okay, so we're starting to notice a pattern now with this poster. Up here in the first paragraph, they are upset that they weren't able to get a house. Here in the second paragraph, they're saying that Square Enix should have taken the resources that they put into Island Sanctuary and instead of put it into instanced housing. Are you guys seeing a trend here? Because I am. This seems to be somebody who is kind of salty about not having a house in Final Fantasy XIV. And due to this salt, is kind of, you know, post-rationalizing why the game is bad by, you know, kind of saying all these other things about these other features. So they then go on to say in the third paragraph that they did not like the Barbarecia Extreme Trial. They say, I think it's poorly designed when you need to stack with somebody in the blue circle and there's a green puddle literally right where you need to be. So in every MMO, right, especially MMOs that have tab target combat, there are going to be some mechanics that you literally can't dodge. And the reason why that is so then the healers have something to do. So the healers have fun playing the game. And so not every single mechanic needs to be dodgeable, you know, as long as it doesn't wipe the party. This is very normal design. So I'm not exactly sure why this person is complaining that there is a mechanic that exists in Barbarecia that is just going to hit them. I mean, there's other mechanics in Barbarecia, like when she starts slamming the floor and everyone that starts taking damage, that are also unavoidable. So I'm not sure what's particularly their hang up with this particular mechanic. They say that I personally don't get who actually enjoys loading into an extreme and is like, ah, yes, it's starting. Better hit my 2-minute skills every 2 minutes. It feels so linear. You know what else feels linear? Dark Souls, Elden Ring. These fights are designed in such a way that they're so difficult and thus giving you a very, very narrow way that you can go ahead and complete it. And the whole puzzle, the whole puzzle about it is figuring out, okay, This thing is hard. What do I need to do to beat it? And through persistence, bit by bit over time can actually learn how to go ahead and clear the trial, clear the raid. And if it was constantly changing up on you all the time, then you would never be able to build that mastery. And if this person doesn't want to play a game that's linear, perhaps they should kind of shy away from PvE and maybe engage in some PvP where player behavior is a bit more unexpected. So then they end up saying that I think I'm burnt out of everything in this game. Hate to see it, I may not come back till 7.0. If there isn't already better things to play by then, RIP my old flame. So it does seem like this person is burnt out, and that's absolutely actually normal. It's totally normal to burn out of a game. It's like imagine you're eating, I don't know, a peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and that's all you eat all day, every day, and you eat nothing else. Even if you love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, 1 week in, 2 weeks in, definitely a month in, you are so sick of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, you do not want to have it anymore. Games, of course, are the same way. It's unreasonable to expect that any game can be played indefinitely without being burnt out of it eventually. This is normal, and that's why Yoshi P says that I don't expect you to play this game forever. And if you before you start feeling burnt out, you should go ahead, take a break, play something else, come back. And when you do that, you leave with a sense of satisfaction, and you're looking forward to the content to come. However, if you're forcing yourself to play past the point of burnout, you're going to leave, with a bitter taste in your mouth. And some games are kind of designed to have you do that, such as World of Warcraft, that's designed to keep you subbed month after month after month, you know, and you feel the sentiment from the developers of that game that we don't want you to leave. Don't leave. And that's why a lot of people do leave, and they leave discontented because they use addiction mechanics to keep you in there. And that burnout will lead to, um, leaving with a bitter taste in your mouth. And that's just usually what happens with burnout. And I've caught myself doing it before too, where I've gotten burnt out with a game. And instead of recognizing that, oh, okay, I'm burnt out at this game. I've eaten peanut butter and jelly sandwiches way too many days in a row. Well, let me go eat some, I don't know, salmon, right? Or let me go eat a cheeseburger. Instead, I'll start like picking at the peanut butter and jelly sandwich and say like, oh, like I don't like this peanut butter, like it's too crunchy. This bread, it's too bready, and that I've caught myself doing it too. So it's like a kind of human response. But it really fundamentally does look like this person just should stop playing the game. Maybe come back later for 7.0, like they said. So I'm going to go ahead and read some of these responses here. This person says, okay, have fun with your other games. This is the perfect time to play other games and clear your backlog. God knows I should do it. Yeah, exactly. And it's good to see this because usually when you see posts like this on MMO forums, a lot of people are mean and nasty and they're like, leave and never come back. But people here actually seem to be rather wholesome. And that's not something you see a lot on MMO forums. This person here says, hopefully you find enjoyment somewhere. Sounds like you need the change. I don't mind the expansion myself, but everyone is going to see it differently. Yep. And this person who has a lot of upvotes on their post says, Endwalker has been thoroughly mid to me. It doesn't feel like Final Fantasy XIV 6.0. It feels like Shadowbringers 2.0. And I didn't terribly care for Shadowbringers outside of its story either, considering it gutted how much content we got per patch, homogenized their jobs like nobody's business, and kinda sanitized everything to the point that you actively have to try to fail. So this person is saying that they liked the story in Shadowbringers, but they didn't like any of the gameplay, and that's totally fine. And Yoshi P really recognizes that there are a subset of people who want to play Final Fantasy just for the story, and they kind of want to play it like a solo player, single player RPG. And he says that he is intentionally trying to design the game moving forward to have a place for these people, that there is going to be a place for Eorzea for people who just want to go in, play a story, bounce, and come back when there's more story content. And you see him doing this with things like adding the AI fights during the MSQ. So this person seems to be a person who should just, play the story if that's all they like. There's no reason to play all the other stuff. Me, I come from World of Warcraft, so I am an MMO fiend. I love MMOs. So I want to play it all. I want to do the trials. I want to do the raids. I want to do Heaven on High. I want to do Palace of the Dead. I want to do Island Sanctuary. I want to do housing. I want to get glam. But that's because I'm an MMO type of guy. Some people are single player RPG players and that's what they want to play and they don't want to play an MMO, so there's no need to. There's no need to do that. Like, this is okay. And like, as you see, like with all these updates, a lot of people agree with the sentiment. That's absolutely fine. And uh, that's kind of where we're at now with how many games are in the market and how the market is so flooded with different types of games. There's no reason to play something you don't like. Come play what you want, and then, if you see you, and if you want to come back later, we'll see you later. So I think I'm going to stop the video there. There are definitely other posts I can go ahead and read, but I think we've kind of gotten the main gist of it. And so that's really all I had to say for this video. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.